check the sound. And it is kind of late. Let me check to make sure you are getting audio on my end. You are. I don't know if anyone will be up. And I don't think I can poof, move this mic any closer. Um, this is just going to be a brief video. Hopefully some of you will join me live. Um, I'm exhausted. Been in meetings or whatever, like one thing or another all day. The recording of the Massachusetts Judicial Committee hearing is available. If you write to the Judicial Committee, they'll send you a copy. I have a copy they sent to me. I'll send it to you if you email it to me. And hello there. Um, so if any of you would like to see it, I'm going to give a brief recap. How do I think it went? You never know. I think, okay, I obviously think that we'll call it the Mass 47 board are on the side of the angels. And obviously, I'm biased in that. And I think they should prevail in this and perhaps a necessary future appeal. Um, I can boil down the big problem with the opposition's case in one sentence. They didn't address the elephant in the room, which is the Delaware decision. Um, as we discussed in a prior video, the LNC's reply completely ignored the Delaware decision. The people speaking for the purging llama board didn't deal with the Delaware decision. Now, there were a lot of complaints that the hearing went beyond the scope of the appeal. And that wasn't, I don't think that wasn't, how do I even word this? The JC has the right to ask whatever questions it wants. And some of the questions the JC asked did go into some of the underlying issues. We don't get to decide what questions the JC gets to ask. For whatever reason, they felt they were important. And, you're not going to win. You answer the questions. So, in that respect, yeah, the hearing did go into issues I didn't expect, but the JC obviously thought they were important. I don't think any of the appellants drag things in that direction. Funny thing is on the critical issue, all three parties, I guess you would say, agreed. That being the Mass 47, the Purging Llama Board, and the LNC all agreed this appeal isn't about the underlying motion. It's about whether or not sustaining the ruling of the chair was proper or not. So that was nice that there was agreement on that. But if the JC wanted to get into some underlying issues, I'm too tired to critique what the other side said. And I'm really over that. As I said, this next month is a month of mostly peace for me, unless something really terrible happens. Um, so I would say strategically, I didn't think it was a good move for some of the other parties to keep complaining that the JC was asking questions that went beyond the scope of the appeal. They have every right to do that. Can you imagine being in a courtroom and telling the judge they were out of line? Like, I don't know. That's just okay. Weird flex, but okay. The Mass 47 answered the questions the best they could. I think the appeal hearing went well because to me, it's indisputable that the Delaware precedent is directly on point. Now, that says nothing about the underlying motion. because really that wasn't what the appeal about. The appeal was just about whether or not Whitney's ruling was correct. That's all it was about. And I think it's a pretty simple question with a pretty simple answer that the LNC avoided. Both other respondents avoided. They didn't deal with it at all. That was kind of shocking to me. I do have one critical comment to make. And I hesitated as to whether to even mention it, but it's been bothering me, so I'm going to mention it. You know, there are things you can do that are right, but aren't right. I don't know if this is technically wrong in any rule sense of the word, but I do know it's wrong in a it doesn't pass the gut test is a very bad look sense of the word. And that is, remember, this is not just an appeal by who I believe is the legitimate board of Llama. This was also a member appeal. Nearly, perhaps even over 300 members, National Party members, signed off on this appeal, like fast, probably in record time in the history of this party. So, like, a lot of members signed this. The LNC chose to have their spokesperson be Oliver Hall, who is the attorney for the party. To me, again, I'm not claiming this is a technical violation of some rules. I'm just saying it doesn't pass the gut test. To use the party attorney to defeat members of the party. There's just something that I can't put my finger on there that's deeply disturbing to me. So the 300 or so people that are dues payers that signed the petition, some of their money went to pay for the attorney that was used to say they were wrong. Again, that might be technically fine within the rules, but that doesn't sit right with me. And I honestly don't think that should sit right with anyone on the LNC. And I ended up speaking for a bit of time in the rebuttal. I didn't intend upon speaking at all. But when you bring in an attorney and the other side, they're not like the Massachusetts 47. A lot of them are younger people just excited about being involved in politics. They're not, when I say not sophisticated, I don't mean like dumb, obviously. What I mean is they're not political operatives. They don't know or even have any interest in these like political games and all that. And I have to tell you, I was really personally indignant that the LNC chose to sick a lawyer on them. Like, talk about punching down. So, the reason I decided to speak is so that they listen, you're going to be picking on people who don't know anything about the law and, they're not parliamentarians. I wanted to level the playing field. Attorneys don't intimidate me. So that's why I ended up speaking towards the end there. I really think that was not a classy move by the LNC. It might have been technically within the rules again, but I'm deeply, deeply disappointed in that. And I do hope some LNC members, no matter how they feel about the appeal, object to that, because I do think that was a misuse of national firing power against regular members. I don't think that's right. And again, you might disagree with me. This is a gut thing. This is a gut thing. And Justin, perhaps to others it doesn't make a difference. They did not use the attorney in the Delaware appeal, by the way. They did not. They also didn't in my appeal. So in these automatic appeals, they didn't. But in a petition signed by hundreds of members, they sicked the party attorney on them? Does that sit right with you? It just doesn't sit right with me. Okay, also, so I think it went well. We shall see. I encourage everyone to watch the hearing. What was also disturbing to me, yeah, that's it, Justin. It might be technically correct, but to me, it doesn't pass the sniff test. And it certainly seems like, bringing a gun to a knife fight and knowing it, you know? But okay. If the Massachusetts 47 needed or thought they needed an attorney, it would have to come out of their own pocket. The LNC, it comes out of their pocket too. That's what's just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. Again, I'm not claiming anything like against the rules was done. Now, one thing also that came out of this that I'm probably going to end up writing an amicus brief on. And by the way, you all, I encourage you to write amicus in favor, or if you're on the other side, in favor of the other side. Don't worry about being fancy. An amicus can be as simple as an email to the JC. They're really looking at substance and not form, so don't stress out. Okay, but the other thing at the end that bothered me was a comment by Tara DeSisto that was basically, wouldn't we have legal liability if we just turned over the Massachusetts party to a super PAC? What? So now agreeing with a caucus, and if you want to support candidates, and I don't have the figures in front of me, but the Mises Caucus has given tens of thousands of dollars to libertarian candidates. Any group that wants to give money to candidates is going to have to organize as a PAC. Of all people, Tara knows this. This is just the way the laws are, whether we like them or not. So is Tara now saying that in Massachusetts, you should be expelled from the party if you give money to a PAC? Like, that's the logic. She was using a cover up for just saying, well, I just don't happen to like this PAC. So she tried to make it about any PAC. But really it was, oh, we just don't like this one. Because if you do, there's a debate technique called taking the roof off. It's argumentum ad absurdum. To what she said, should she be expelled? Because she gave to a Democratic PAC, Act Blue. Should anyone who's given money to a PAC? I mean, if you're going to make the argument that giving money to a PAC then makes you like some kind of agent of PAC takeover, and that justifies expulsion. I mean, if you're going to just even take that as face value, wouldn't you think giving to a Democrat PAC would be a lot worse than giving to a PAC that has given tens of thousands of dollars to libertarian candidates? I mean, the whole proposition is absurd on its face, but I'm just saying it was very bizarre to me. And what do they mean by giving to a PAC? Does donating money to the Mises Caucus automatically make you like the PAC, or does it just make you a supporter of a PAC, like anybody involved in politics is? Guess what? The Frontier Project is a PAC, to the best of my understanding. This new LLCC they just set up is a PAC. The LNCC, which is another thing from the past, is a PAC. This is so transparent. So basically, you've got a group who's trying to do real political work and working within the unfortunate realities of the law we have now, which means you got to set up a PAC, and that's being used against them. Who wants to be the social club? It does make zero sense. And simply being a donor to a PAC doesn't make you the PAC. Her argument would have made more sense. It still wouldn't have made sense, but it would have made more sense if the people who signed the petition and the people who were seeking board positions were like all of the board of directors of Mises. But none of them were. And in fact, what she conveniently didn't mention is about half of the people expelled weren't even donors to the Mises PAC. So I do hope the Judicial Committee picked up on that, because that was really disturbing to me. So is Tara now discouraging donations to Libertarian PACs? Isn't that new, what's that new, I forget the name of the group that Joe Jorgensen just started. It's a PAC. It's a Liberty PAC. If a bunch of people who donated to that PAC started getting really involved in Massachusetts, should they be expelled? Should Dan Fishman, I don't know if he's still a Massachusetts member. I actually don't think he lives there anymore, but I don't know. Let's just say he is. People for Liberty, that's it. Should everybody involved with People for Liberty be expelled? It made no sense. And it really, I found it to be deeply disturbing. But again, that did go a bit afield, but that was a door opened by Tara. So we'll see. We'll see. This is kind of like a jury trial. A jury's going to do what a jury's going to do. So the JC's going to do what the JC's going to do. The secret email list dump came out tonight. I did download it. I did scan through it. I'm not going to be spending a great deal of time on that. Again, they've got a month left. They don't got nothing on me in there, and I'm just, I'm going to find some smoking gun where some LNC member said something terrible. I mean, they say plenty of terrible things on the public list. So, if someone else goes through this thing and they have a question to me about any email of mine in there, I'd be more than glad to answer it, but I'm not personally going to be spending a lot of time on that. But it's interesting, though, in scanning through it, there are things in there that legitimately belonged on a secret list, and most of it did not. So in this dump of data, the LNC has just admitted for years it's been having inappropriate secret conversations. I know they're like spinning it that they're like it's some heroic thing to release these. But isn't that like the government breaking your legs and saying what a hero they are by giving you crutches? Like, there wouldn't be a need to, we're such heroes, we're releasing the secret email list, if there wasn't an inappropriate secret email list to begin with. You see what I'm saying? But the things that are on that list that they should have redacted or should have held back, they have conversations on there about regular members and volunteers. To me, that is actually something that belongs in executive session. You don't release potential disciplinary discussions about volunteers to the public. That's like a legitimate use of the list. And they released all that. It's incomprehensible to me. And then most of the stuff, it's, again, I skimmed through it. It's boring. But that just showed it shouldn't have been in a secret list. You'll see in there, though, the instructions that were given on how to make sure no LNC member has to get a member email in their email box, though. I told you that happened. And now you can go see it for yourself. So, yeah, but most of it's boring. To be honest with you, I think to read all of that would take 4 or 5 hours, and I've got better things to do. You'll see that my assertion that it was Dan Fishman that started that list is correct, because you'll see that's the first email. But most of it's pretty just. But what I found interesting in there, I didn't really read it too closely, but apparently there were complaints, and I think it's a legitimate complaint, about the way ranked choice voting was being used. I didn't really understand it, but they're like saying, when you're using ranked choice voting, you shouldn't be able to see everyone else's votes as the vote is going on because tactical, whatever. I mean, it isn't any big deal. Like, it's a scandal, girls. It's nothing like that. It was just whatever. So I've downloaded it. I'll save it. Maybe one day when I'm out camping, I'll peruse through it. But to be honest with you, if you're expecting me to spend a lot of time on this, no, I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on the LNC. For this month, I've got other things to do. I will obviously keep you up to date with the Massachusetts thing. That's the most important thing to me now. The platform committee report is also something the platform committee is really working on hard right now. So that's top of my plate right now. And I'm going to Wisconsin this weekend. So basically, you probably won't see me unless I do some live streaming from Wisconsin. And that's only if I get the platform committee first draft done. Though there will be my radio show on Saturday. You probably won't hear from me until Monday or Tuesday, unless, again, hopefully nothing, earth-shattering happens again. This month I want to be very boring and procedural, and I hope even in the couple criticisms I had about the JC hearing, I was pretty boring and procedural. Like, I'm not into the personalities anymore, man. Like, I'm over it. I think most of the party is over it, that we just want to move forward and work for liberty. But I figured y'all wanted an update, so there you go. And we'll eagerly await the JC decision. So I will probably not see you guys until either Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday. And if I don't, I hope you have an awesome weekend. And that was pretty much it. There wasn't even any grifting, because basically this was just an update. All right. I hope you all have an awesome night. Bye-bye.